Hello, Ryan here, and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday. This is a weekly show which covers all of the news from the week just past. Be sure to subscribe if you like what you see, and let's get on with it. This week on Star Citizen Sunday, Alpha 313 finally goes to the live servers. We hear from the Montreal team regarding their role in building locations in the persistent universe, plus we get the latest updates on the ships in the works, including the Hercules lineup, the Redeemer, and the Gold Standard Sabre. Firstly, I would like to do a big shout out to Contact SC and Captain Ives for becoming my latest patrons. Thank you both so much for the support, it is truly appreciated. So before we begin, Alpha 313 went live this week, and so far the patch seems okay. It's not amazing, as it isn't really a big content patch, but there is more of what we have already, which I do personally enjoy, especially those caves, and some new additional missions, and of course the reputation system, giving us a bit more to get on with. I have heard that many people have been struggling to get into the verse and ending up with an infinite loading screen, plus I myself have had a few issues with boxes killing me, staggers killing me, and desync is still quite present, but overall I am really enjoying the new patch. I will create more 313 content throughout the next few weeks highlighting all the new features, plus I would like to start a Zero to Hero series in which I play episodically, starting off with just an Aurora MR and seeing how we get on. So if that sounds of interest to you, be sure to hit that subscribe, but with that said, let us get to it. So for the return of Inside Star Citizen this week, we were introduced to the new members of the Montreal studio. Now all of these new members were actually previous developers at Ubisoft, with one of them being a level designer. And I will say that Ubisoft games have some incredibly detailed environments, so it's good to see these guys joining to make Star Citizen environments. It is definitely a win for the project. So this Montreal team has been created to get to the point where they can create entire star systems and populating them with content and bringing purpose to the project. Now they are going to start small first and then work up to the entire systems. So starting with things like rooftop gameplay at landing zones, hospitals, and creating variations for these locations. They're looking into more missions and points of interest at these landing zones and expanding them, giving players more of a reason to stick around rather than quantum traveling away all the time, which is really nice to hear them reiterate this, because it was mentioned before that these planets, or not planets, but these landing locations are going to be locations where you can spend hours, even days, filling time doing missions and whatever you want to do without even quantum traveling away. Right now the team are creating landing zone hospitals, which will come to space stations as well, and they're also building a solution for layouts, with space stations being the first proof of concept, with the first phase of this being how they can build them out more quickly, and the second phase is looking into creating rules on how they can give more gameplay to the players without sacrificing the quality. Now it has been mentioned in previous Inside Star Citizens that they do want to bring space station specific missions, like maybe you need to repair part of a station, you've got to EVA out and fix it up. So I would expect this will have a lot to do with this new studio. But with that said, it's very exciting to see this new team come on board, and with them creating more gameplay at planetside locations, creating points of interest at landing zones, as well as eventually fleshing out full solar systems. It'll be really interesting to see how what we have now in the persistent universe expand and offer more gameplay in the future, and I cannot wait to see this. Anyway, next up we have a sprint report. Now the visual effects team have been addressing readability of ships at distance, especially while flying through gas clouds, so they have added long distance particle effects to thrusters to make the space scene more interesting and allow players to see them at greater distances too. Now, while doing this, they decided to prioritize the missing comms trail issue, so we should see that come back, so basically a trail behind the ship. And the same goes for atmospheric flight as well, which will be very useful during sandstorms and other bad weather types. The environment team are concepting more harvestables for the upcoming Pyro system. Here we can see the devil pods of Pyro 4. This is a dried expansive stalk that grows pods harvested for the manufacturing of heat-resistant textiles, probably used for like clothing that we can buy for exploring the hotter planets. The next plant is called Jar's Veil, and this is found in Pyro 3 with brightly coloured frilly plants designed to grow on the edge of cliffs with the flowers being collected for use for medical study. We are seeing a couple of plants being introduced that are specific for medical purposes, so I do wonder if this is going to play a part in early missions, collecting items for when we start getting medical gameplay in, I wonder. Next up, we got to see the continued progress of the Colonialism outposts for the Pyro system and other frontier systems, they say. This week, the props team have been whiteboxing various items to fill the interior spaces like rugs, beds, lamps, drapes, and pottery. They are looking phenomenal, and they're moving along pretty quickly. The Aegis Saber has been receiving the gold standard work like we saw on the Gladius for ship components. They have added to the Hercules Starlifter some inventory storage compartments to the area above the main cargo hold. This is going to be very important for when the local inventory system coming in 3.14 gets implemented, having a place to store just all of our items. And for the A2 variant, they have continued working on the cluster bomb mechanism, which just looks incredible. Finally, they have been further fleshing out the look and the feel of the Aegis Redeemer. Focus this time was on the thrusters and how they glow, plus trying to get the turrets to look right, but the belly of the ship will look a lot less boxy as they continue to develop it, but at the time of recording, it hasn't progressed as far as the other areas of the ship. So that was this week's Inside Star Citizen. Great to see this new team coming on board over in Montreal. I am really excited to see what they can contribute to this project. Plus, checking out the Hercules again reminds me just how close we are to seeing that monster of a ship get into our hands. Anyway, that was Inside Star Citizen. Let us move on. So also this week, Star Citizen Live was a game dev stream in which they showed us the process of creating an additional area using the underground facilities as a test case. Now this really highlights just how quickly they can add a new location to these underground facilities, or pretty much anywhere for that matter, using the tools that they have available, which was really impressive to see the speed and efficiency at which they can do this. And it was mentioned that the underground facilities are very limited and they plan to revisit them and expand them to provide a lot more content. Apparently, according to Jared as well, the underground facilities in 3.13 have something new to discover. No idea what this is, but we must find out. There was also a new mining rocks lore post, which is always an interesting read, specifically if you are a miner. The roadmap was updated again this week for all the latest changes, which include the new addition of the Nyx system to the roadmap and a creature found in the icy tundras of Microtech. Be sure to check out my video linked below covering this. And finally, with the release of Alpha 3.13, there is a new referral code bonus in which both the referrer and referee will receive an Aurora MR. Plus, we also have the Tumbrel Cyclone MT and Greycat DS now available for sale, along with some new paints for the Mercury Star Runner, the Nomad and the DS, with the DS also having some promotional Greycat armors, which do look pretty nifty, and I will likely pick some of these up. Although I think it is said that the armors won't be available in-game until the summertime. So that brings us to the end of the show. If you do enjoy my content, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. Also, I am able to do this thanks to my very generous patrons and channel members. If you appreciate what I do and would like to help make it even better from as little as $1 a month, all of the links are provided below.